Hello everyone, my name is this issue is all about. So there is this shrine by the name of Sabrimala Shrine in Kerala that has restricted the entry of women in the age group of 10 to 50 years of age. Which means that if any woman is in the age of 10 to 50 years, then she won't be allowed to enter the sanctum sanctorum of Sabrimala Shrine. Now, coming to other half of the population, that is the male population, men, there are no such restrictions on men. Why? So the reason that has been cited by the Sabrimala Shrine is that the women in the age group of 10 to 50 years of age are impure because they undergo menstruation cycles. And owing to this impurity, women have been kept out of the sanctum sanctorum of Sabrimala Shrine. So, due to this issue, there has been a debate in the country whether this practice followed by the Sabrimala shrine is discriminatory or not. Whether this particular practice of keeping the women of the age group of 10 to 50 years is discriminatory or whether it is valid on cultural or traditional grounds. So, in this lesson, we would be dealing with both the sides of the debate. That is, those who are in favor of the restriction on women, we would be seeing their arguments, and also those who are against such restrictions, we would see their viewpoint as well. First of all, coming to the geographical location and different geographical aspects of Sabrimala Shrine. So, this shrine is located in Western Ghats in the state of Kerala. It is located on the Nilimala Hills. So, if you want to reach the Sabrimala Shrine, you need to trek the Nilimala Hills in the Western Ghats of Kerala. Also, this particular shrine is located near the Periyar Tiger Reserve. These kinds of questions, these kind of facts may be useful in the prelims examination where you need to eliminate different options. Also, another characteristic of the Sabrimala shrine is the seasonal nature of its pilgrimage. That is, this particular shrine is not open throughout the year, but it opens up only during the months of November till January so that the pilgrims can, uh, do puja and different rituals in the shrine only during the months of November to January. So it is because of the seasonal nature of the Sabrimala shrine. It is the second largest seasonal pilgrimage center in the world, first being the Makkah in Saudi Arabia. So these are some of the facts associated with Sabrimala shrine that may be useful from the prelims point of view. Coming to some more facts, so we have seen that Sabrimala Shrine is located on the Nilimala Hills near the Periyar Tiger Reserve in the Western Ghats in the state of Kerala. The next geographical fact is it is located on the bank of river Pamba. The Pamba River flows nearby the Sabrimala Shrine. And also, one more important fact from the art and culture point of view is that the Sabrimala Shrine belongs to the Tantric sect of Hinduism. There are different sects in Hinduism. One is the Vedic sect, another is the Tantric sect, but the Sabrimala Shrine is associated with Tantric sect of Hinduism. Okay, so these are some of the facts that you may find useful from the prelims point of view. Coming to the location of Sabrimala on the map of Kerala. So this is the map of Kerala, and this is the Sabrimala shrine located towards the southeastern part of the state near the Pamban River and the Periyar Tiger Reserve. Now, as I told you that some debate is going on regarding the Sabrimala shrine, the entry of women in the shrine. So we can divide the entire population, the entire debate into two corners, into two parts. One is that sect of the population that says that women should not enter the shrine, and they basically cite the cultural and the traditional reasons for restriction upon the entry of women in the shrine. The second sect is that uses the Constitution of India and different central and state laws to promote the entry of women in the shrine. So we would be looking at the arguments and the premises of both the sects one by one. First of all, we would start with the law and the constitutional part. So, in this particular part, we would see the first contour of the debate, that is the law and constitution. What are the different articles of the Indian constitution that promote the entry of women in the shrine, and also different laws and different arguments associated with this particular site. So, first of all, if we talk about the Indian constitution, then the restriction upon the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine goes against Article 14 of the Indian constitution. Basically, the shrine imposes the restriction only on women and not on men. So, this is basically against the right to equality, because in India, everyone is equal irrespective of their caste, creed, sex, religion, or place of birth. And if any such public place of worship practices some discrimination on the basis of gender, that women in the age group of 10 to 50 years won't be allowed to enter the shrine, then that goes against the right to equality, and that is basically a discrimination against the women. Now, as we know that Article 14 forms the part of the basic structure of the constitution that was laid down in the Keshwanand Bharati case of 1973. So, since Article 14 is really important and also it forms a part of the basic structure of the Constitution, it promotes equality before law and also equal protection of the law. So, all the rights and laws of the women should be protected as far as the Sabrimala shrine is concerned. And so, this is one article that promotes the entry of women in the shrine. After Article 14, we come to Article 15. This is the next provision of the Indian Constitution that supports the entry of women in the shrine. So, if we talk about Article 15 standalone, then it says that prohibition of discrimination should be there. Now, this particular article says that there shall not be any discrimination on the basis of caste, race, sex, religion, or place of birth. It says that if there is a public place, then the access to that public place should not be restricted on any of these bases. But we know that Sabrimala temple is a public place, it is a place of worship that is accessible to all the Hindus, and also it is a public place basically that has some linkages with the government of India and the state government of Kerala. So, any sort of discrimination, any sort of prohibition on the entry of people on the basis of, you know, sex or religion or place of birth goes against the constitutional provisions. And so Article 15 says that if you want to prohibit discrimination, then the entry of women should be allowed in the Sabrimala shrine. So till now we have seen two articles. One is Article 14 and another is Article 15 that supports the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine. Coming to the third provision is Article 25 Clause 1. Now, this particular article entitles every individual, every person in the country with the freedom of religion. It says that if there is any citizen of India, then he is absolutely free to profess, practice, or propagate his or her own religion. That is, every person in the country is equally entitled to practice their own religion, and Indian government has no official religion. There is no official religion of the state, and keeping in line with the provisions in the preamble that envisages to develop a secular state, the Article 25 gives the freedom of religion to all the people irrespective of any sort of discrimination. So this freedom of religion allows the people to practice, profess and propagate their religion. Now let us say if there is a Hindu woman who wants to worship Lord Ayappa in the Sabrimala shrine, then obviously to practice her religion she would need to go to the Lord Ayappa shrine, the Sabrimala shrine in Kerala. But because of these prohibitory orders of the trust, because of these restrictions upon the entry of women in the shrine, she cannot practice her religion freely. So this restriction also goes against Article 25, that is, it goes against the freedom of religion of an individual, and because of these restrictions, a person is not able to practice his or her religion freely. Now we have seen three provisions. One is Article 14, Article 15 and Article 25 subclause 1. The fourth provision is Article 51A clause E. As you must be knowing that Article 51A deals with fundamental duties. It was added into the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976 on the recommendations of the Sardar Swaran Singh Committee. And so the logic behind introducing the fundamental duties was that all the rights, the fundamental rights that have been conferred upon the citizens and other people in India by the Constitution, they should be balanced with the duties. So the government of India was of the opinion that a balance should be maintained between the rights and the duties. And so keeping in mind that particular premise, the fundamental duties were included into the part 4A of the Indian Constitution, that is Article 51A. Now, the fifth fundamental duty in Article 51A says that all the citizens should renounce practices that are derogatory against the dignity of a woman. That is, if any person is indulging in activities that goes against the dignity, respect, integrity of a woman, then those practices should be shunned. Those practices should be avoided. Those practices should be, abrogated, and we should not practice such laws, such basically norms that goes against the integrity and dignity of a woman. So these are the four clauses of the Indian constitution that supports the entry of women. Because if you are stigmatizing the women on the basis of menstruation, if you are stigmatizing the women and you are calling them as impure because they menstruate, then that is actually derogatory to their dignity, that goes against their dignity, that goes against their respect and integrity, and any sort of discrimination just on the basis of gender and restricting the entry of people in the temple shrine because just because they're menstruating, that is totally absolutely bizarre, and actually it is derogatory towards the integrity and dignity of a woman. So, till now, we have seen four provisions that support the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine: Article 14, Article 15, Article 25, and Article 51A, Clause E. Now, if we move ahead from the constitution and come to the state laws, then the Kerala state government, the Legislative Assembly of Kerala, has passed this law, that is Kerala Hindu Places of Public Worship Authorization of Entry Act 1965. This act has been passed by the Legislative Assembly of Kerala to allow unimpeded and unrestricted access to all the Hindus of the state, to all the Hindu institutions. That is, all the Hindus of Kerala would have access to all the Hindu institutions, all the temples in the state without any discrimination, without any restriction. But the rules that have been framed by the Sabrimala Shrine Trust are actually in contravention, in contradiction with this particular state law. Because, on one side, the state law is saying that, look, if you are a Hindu, no matter to which caste you belong, no matter your gender, no matter your place of birth, you would have unimpeded access to the place of worship. But the Shrine Trust, the Sabrimala Shrine Trust, has imposed restriction on women in the age group of 10 to 50 years of age, and that is in contradiction with this particular state law. So the state should implement its laws significantly so that any such discriminatory practices may end in the state. The implication of these restrictions and this exclusion of women from practicing their religion freely has been. Now, coming to the sociological implications of this particular restriction on women from entering the sanctum sanctorum of Sabrimala Shrine, the first implication is that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has said that the entry to public places should be unimpeded, unrestricted. That is, if there is a public place, then everyone should have access to that place, irrespective of the caste, creed, sex, religion, or place of birth. If there is any question on the entry, if there is any question on the entry to that public place, then the equality is brought into the question. For example, if there is a public park in my society and I wish to visit that park, but the management stops me from entering, maybe just because I'm not from this particular state, or maybe because my income level is low, or maybe I belong to a particular community, or maybe I belong to a particular gender or a caste. So that discrimination or that restriction upon me from entering that park, that actually rises the question of equality into the picture. So if I am being stopped, if I am restricted from entering the public place, then that goes against the notion of equality. This is one aspect. The second aspect is, now if there are 100 people, let us say 50 men and 50 women, all of them are devotees of Lord Ayappa. These 50 men have been allowed to enter the shrine, but these 50 women are not allowed to enter the shrine. So, even though God is one and every child of God is equal, all these 50 men and 50 women are have same faith, same devotion towards Lord Ayappa, but because of the regressive mindset and the patriarchal society and the male chauvinism, and considering the menstruation of women as impure, these 50 women have been restricted from entering the Sabrimala shrine, and that is actually putting a question mark upon their faith, that is actually putting a question mark upon their you know their devotion towards Lord Ayappa, and that is actually questioning their faith and religion. So excluding women is actually, goes against their dignity, goes against their trust and faith in Lord Ayappa. Now, if we deal with another article of the Indian Constitution, then Article 26B. This is one article that gives power and freedom to the religious boards and shrines to manage their own religious affairs. If there is a board, if there is a shrine board, and if there is a trust and they want to manage their religious affairs, then they have been given freedom by this Article 26B. It says that you can manage your religious affairs freely. Okay. So now the Shrine Trust, the Sabrimala Shrine Trust, derives its power from this article, that is 26B. This is one provision. Now, what is the implication of this? Let us just look in the other slide. So, because of this power, there has been a conflict between Article 26B and Article 25(1). How? Let us just understand. The Sabrimala Shrine Trust under Article 26B are managing their religious affairs, right? This is one clause. Now, as a part of their management of that particular shrine, they say that women would not be allowed to enter the shrine because they are impure because of their menstruation, right? This is the second clause. Now, women under the Article 25 of the Indian Constitution have right to freedom of religion. They can practice, profess or propagate their own religion freely without any restriction. There is no discrimination, no clause stopping them. Okay. Now, as the Shrine Trust has actually stopped women from entering the shrine. So basically, what is happening here is the shrine is using its Article 26 to encroach upon the religious freedom of Article 25 of the individual women. So what is happening is there has been a conflict between Article 25 and Article 26. That is, there is contravention, there is contradiction between Article 26 of the Shrine Trust and Article 25 of the individual religious freedom. There is a conflict between these two articles here. And because of this conflict between these two articles, now there has been a lot of hue and cry regarding the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine. People are saying that the Shrine Trust is encroaching upon the fundamental rights of the women. The Shrine Board is actually curtailing the religious freedom that has been guaranteed to individual women by Article 25(1) of the Indian Constitution. So, as far as the ideology of the founding fathers of our constitution is concerned, so they were of the opinion that all these religious shrines, all these trusts, all these boards under Article 26 should promote the religious freedom that has been conferred upon the individuals by Article 25. For example, if there is a community who does not have access to temples, then it should be the responsibility of the trust, of the board, of the shrine board, to actually make provision so that the temple is accessible to a particular community so that they can practice their religion. So Article 25 and Article 26 should be in complementarity, should be in synchronization with each other rather than being contradictory and rather than being competitive in nature. So basically, under Article 26, the religious shrines and boards should not curtail upon and should not encroach upon their individual religious freedom that has been granted to them by the Article 25 of the Indian Constitution. So these were some of the constitutional provisions under Article 14, 15, 25, 26, 51A that we have seen, and we also saw the state government law that was passed by the Legislative Assembly of Kerala. Now we would come to another notion of conflict between the followers of Lord Ayappa. Let us just consider that there are two groups of people, 1 and 2. The followers in this particular group, in the first group, say that there should not be entry of women in the sanctum sanctorum. Okay. The second group says that there should be the entry of women in the temple. Now, the shrine board was constituted, the trust was constituted, and the trust has all the members from group 1. And it is because of this reason that the people with such ideology that women should not be allowed to enter the Sabrimala shrine, they are currently dominating the shrine board. Okay. Had there been some members from the second group into the shrine board, the entry of women would have been a reality. The women would have been allowed to enter the Sabrimala shrine trust. So The point in focus here is that even among the followers of Lord Ayappa, there are some contradictions, there are some fault lines, there are some divisions. One section of the followers of Lord Ayappa says that there should not be any entry, and the other section says that there should be entry and equality should be there. So, within the followers of Lord Ayappa, there are some contradictions, some fault lines, and so the shrine board, the trust should be rehabilitated, it should be reformed so that the people having both kinds of religious ideologies should be a part of that particular board. I hope this point is clear to you that people having both kinds of ideologies should be there in the board. The board should be more inclusive, the board should be more representative in nature so that it represents all the religious ideologies. Now if we move ahead from Sabrimala, if we see if there are any other places where such restriction on women are there. So there were two places: Shani Shingnapur temple in Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra and Haji Ali Dargah in Mumbai. In both these shrines, the entry of women was restricted. But recently, the Bombay High Court ruled that women should be given unrestricted entry in both these shrines. That is, in Shani Shingnapur temple and in Haji Ali Dargah, women should be allowed to worship freely and they should be allowed to enter the sanctum sanctorum of both these shrines. Now, there are 2 points that are to be noted here. First point is that the judiciary here is acting as the guardian of the constitution. They are protecting the right to equality and also the right to freedom of religion of the women, and they have allowed the Muslim women to enter Haji Ali Dargah, and they have allowed the Hindu women to enter the Shani Shingnapur temple. So judiciary here is playing a very proactive role. It is actually playing a very progressive role and a very pragmatic role in the society, and it is enabling the women to actually make their rights a reality in Indian society. The second point that is to be noted here is that even though there may be some traditional and cultural beliefs that prohibited the entry of women in these two shrines, but using the agenda of secularism that is given in the preamble of our constitution, judiciary enabled equality in terms of religion and it enabled the entry of women in both these shrines. So till now, there were three shrines, three major shrines where the entry of women was restricted: the Shani Shingnapur temple, the Haji Ali Dargah, and Sabrimala shrine. In both these places, the entry of women has been allowed, but in the Sabrimala temple, the entry of women is still restricted. So till now we have seen the law and the constitutional part and those and that particular side of the debate that actually supports the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine. Now we would look at the culture and the traditional part. We would look at the another side of the debate. We would look at the second side of the second face of the coin that says that women should not be allowed to enter the sanctum sanctorum of Sabrimala shrine. From this slide onwards, we would start the second part of our debate, that is the women should not be allowed to enter the shrine. Okay, so now as we have come to the culture and tradition part, so we would be investigating and looking at those reasons that have actually made the entry of women in Sabrimala shrine difficult, and what are the reasons and what are the cultural reasons behind that particular restriction. So I would just tell you a small story and the whole picture would be clear to you. Okay, so Lord Ayappa actually has different phases. Okay, every Indian god has different phases. He may be in meditating pose, he may be in his childhood pose, he may be in a phase where he is killing some demon or some rakshas, he may be in a worshipping mode. So basically the point here is that as far as the Hindu religion is concerned, so in Hindu religion every god or goddess has different and multiple phases. They have different life cycles, they have different phases of their life, and depending upon the places where such incidences took place, temples have been constructed. For example, if there is a god who killed a particular rakshas at a particular place, then the temple would be created at that place, and the the qualities of the god, like such as the killing of rakshas and all those good qualities of the god would be depicted in that particular temple. Similarly, if a god uh, basically he stopped at some place to actually go in for meditation, or he went for some sort of eternal sleep at a particular place, then a temple would be created at that place. Similarly, Lord Ayappa, just like any other Hindu deity, has multiple phases. So, as far as the Sabrimala shrine is concerned, so it is assumed that Lord Ayappa, when he was practicing celibacy, when he was a celibate, when he was completely brahmachari, he went into the meditation pose, he went for a yogic posture, and it is at this place of brahmachari and it is at this place of celibacy that the Sabrimala shrine has been created, which means that this particular shrine celebrates and it worships the celibate nature, the brahmachari nature of Lord Ayappa. So now, because of this brahmachari nature, because of this yogic posture, because of this celibacy, because of this brahmachari nature of Lord Ayappa, he was away from all the worldly leisures, from all the pleasures, from all kind of distractions, if we can say, or we can say he was away from all the moh maya of life, and because of which he was in his eternal sleep, he was there in yogic posture, he was in deep meditation. Okay, at that place the Sabrimala shrine has been created. So any person who wants to visit the Sabrimala shrine, irrespective of the gender or age, he should maintain a strict vrat. Vrat is basically a Hindi word for fast. Okay, strict fast. If any follower wants to visit the Sabrimala shrine, then he needs to maintain a strict fast of 40 to 50 days, whereby he won't consume alcohol, he won't consume drugs, meat, or he won't indulge in sexual intercourse. It means that if a person wants to visit Sabrimala shrine, then he should be absolutely pure and he should be absolutely, away from all the materialistic and worldly pleasures. So this is why a very strict protocol has been maintained as far as the visitors visiting the Sabrimala shrine is concerned. Why? Why such strict penance of why such strict vrat should be maintained? Because Lord Ayappa is in a deep meditation stage. It is assumed that at Sabrimala shrine he is in deep meditation stage. He is in eternal sleep, and so if any person goes with impurity there, or if any person indulges in any of these activities there, so that would distract the god from his meditation, that would be disrespectful towards god, that would go against the rules of the god, because god is away from all the moh maya of the worldly pleasure and he is in a meditation stage, and so we should go in absolutely pure stage to do the darshan of Lord Ayappa. It is because of this reason that a strict vrat, a strict rules should be followed. Just because Lord Ayappa is a celibate, he is a brahmachari, he is away from all the moh maya of the materialistic world. It is because of this reason that entry of women in the age group of 10 to 50 years of age group has been restricted, because since he is a brahmachari, he is away from marriage and sexual relationship. It is because of this reason that women have been kept away from this particular shrine, because in this particular temple Lord Ayappa is assumed to be in a celibate state. So to prevent any kind of distraction, any kind of disturbance to Lord in his eternal sleep and his meditation stage, and also to respect the rules of the God, the entry of women have been avoided, and it is from the cultural and the tradition norms that this particular restriction upon the entry of the women has been entrenched in the Sabrimala shrine rules. So the shrine board, the trust is of the opinion that there are a large number of Lord Ayappa temples. Women are absolutely free to visit any of those temples. They can visit any temple of Lord Ayappa, but because Lord Ayappa is in celibate stage, because of his celibacy, because of his brahmachari nature at the Sabrimala shrine, it is only and only in the Sabrimala shrine that the followers of that the women followers of Lord Ayappa in the age group of 10 to 50 years of age should not visit this Sabrimala shrine. In other temples where Lord Ayappa is in different phases, like the infant phase or like the old age phase, in those shrines women can visit freely, but they should restrain out of respect, out of love for the god, they should restrict themselves from entering the sanctum sanctorum of the Sabrimala shrine. Also, just one more point, that all the rituals of puja, all the rituals and all the procedures of havan and different kinds of pujas that are performed there, they have been framed keeping in mind the celibacy nature of the god, the celibate nature of the god, the brahmachari nature of the god, and to preserve and to respect that particular brahmachari nature of Lord Ayappa, the entry of women in the age group of 10 to 50 years has been restricted. Now, some of the people, as we saw in the constitution and the law phase of the debate, that there were some people who called the Sabrimala shrine as narrow minded, as conservative sect of Hinduism, and they were criticizing the nature of the Sabrimala shrine. But in reality, Sabrimala shrine is a very secular and a very, you know, is a shrine that really demonstrates the ethos of the Indian democracy. It is absolutely in line with the Indian constitution. Let us understand how. There is a mosque of Vavar Swami. I'm sorry. There is a mosque of Vavar Swami at the foothills of Sabrimala, the Nilimala hills that we were talking about as far as the Sabrimala shrine is concerned. So, on the foothills of the Nilimala hills, there is one mosque of Vavar Swami. Vavar Swami was basically a Muslim who is supposed to be a close friend of Lord Ayappa. Now, the shrine rules say that if any pilgrim wants to visit the Sabrimala shrine, then he should first visit the mosque of Vavar Swami. So you can just see here that at one point they are saying that you should visit the mosque as well as the temple. So they are actually promoting the secular nature, the secular ethos, the communal harmony between the communities, so that the secular nature of the Indian state can be maintained. So you can just see that they are not really narrow minded, but it is just because of the celibate nature, the brahmachari nature of Lord Ayappa, because of which they have restricted the entry of women in the age group of 10 to 50 years in the Sanctum Sanctorum of Sabrimala Shrine. Coming to another fact, there is one Attukal Devi temple in Kerala that is an all women temple, that is only women are allowed in that particular temple, no male members are allowed there. Okay, so now there is a lot of hue and cry regarding the Sabrimala shrine that okay, look, women are not allowed there, women followers are deprived of their Lord Ayappa, they cannot worship there. But what about the Attukal Devi temple? Attukal Devi temple also has male and female followers, but no activist, no group actually raised up this issue that the entry of males should be allowed in this particular temple. Why? This shows the double standard of the activism in our society, that at one point you are overly relying on the feminism, you are overly, you are getting obsessed with the notion of gender equality, but when it comes to male empowerment, you are not really, gearing up yourself to take up the rights of the males. So this actually shows that this particular Attukal Devi temple is also known as women's Sabrimala in Kerala. So the point in focus here is that due to the tradition, due to the traditional practices, due to the culture of a particular place, there are some cases where women are not allowed, but there are some places as well where men are not allowed. So we don't really need to see everything from the gender lens, everything from the prism of gender. We should somewhere rely upon the traditional culture, and also we should not deem everything as male chauvinism or patriarchal nature of the society. We should also understand the ethos from which the particular practice has emerged. Coming to the judicial intervention into the issue, the Kerala High Court in 1991 actually upheld the restriction upon the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine. The Kerala High Court, the division bench of the Kerala High Court, actually ruled that the restriction upon the entry of women in the Sabrimala shrine is not unconstitutional. It is absolutely valid, and it depends upon the shrine and the priest of the Sabrimala shrine whether they want to allow women into the shrine or not. So this is one judgment that actually, reinstated the restriction upon the women entry into the shrine. So till now we have seen two sides of the coin. One side that actually relies upon the law and the constitution to allow the entry of women in the shrine, and we have also seen that particular side that relies upon the cultural tradition and the cultural ethos to actually continue the restriction upon the women entering the Sabrimala shrine. So we have seen two sides of the debate. We have seen the arguments and the counter arguments of both the sides. Now we would look at the way forward that would actually enable you to write good quality answers as far as the mains examination is concerned. So, if you were to write in the mains examination, so first of all, just a fact that this particular issue is currently pending with the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court. That is, the five judges bench of the Supreme Court is actually listening to this particular case. They are actually listening to both the sides of the coin, and finally, they would give some verdict. So, whenever the verdict would come, I would update you with that particular verdict. Beyond this, till the time the decision comes, the balanced viewpoint would be that Indian society is really plural and diverse in nature. There are large number of religions, and within those religions there are different sects. Like in India, in Hinduism we have different sects like Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Vedic sect, or the Tantric sect. Okay, now every sect has its own value, every sect has its own tradition, every sect has its own set of protocol. Now if you are not comfortable with the rules and regulations of one sect, you are totally free to move to other. For example, if women who are actually worshipping Lord Ayappa, they are not liking the rules that have been framed by the shrine board or the rules that have been framed by the worshippers of Lord Ayappa, they are totally free to denounce that particular religion and go to some other religion or go to some other sect. They are totally free and there is no restriction upon them to stick to that particular religion. So this is a way forward, this is a flexibility that has been given to them. Another point is, it is good that we are focusing on gender equality in the Sabrimala shrine. It is good that we are promoting gender equality, and gender equality is one of the core values of the Indian democracy. But we should also consider the cultural values and ethos, and we should avoid any sort of obsession with gender equality. And if you are promoting gender equality, then as we saw the temple of Attukula Devi temple also, then gender equality should be taken up equally both for men as well as for women. So I hope this particular point of gender equality is clear to you, that if you are undergoing gender equality, you should not be obsessed with it, first of all. And secondly, gender equality should be bilateral. That is, the empowerment of men as well as women should take place. Coming to the last slide, if we talk about the way forward, then what state can do on its part. Article 25, Clause 2, Subclause B. This particular article empowers the state to frame laws to allow equal access to Hindu religious institutions across caste and community. If I can explain this to you, Article 25(2) subclause B says that the government is absolutely free to frame laws to allow unrestricted and unimpeded entry of all the people to all the Hindu religious institutions. Let us say if there are 100 Hindus and they are restricted from entering a particular temple or a particular shrine, then the government may form a law. It should not rely on judiciary to pass a verdict. It can create a law itself based upon its deliberation and passes through the select committees and the standing committees of the parliament. It can deliberate, discuss and debate this issue in the parliament, and depending upon the discussions and the amendments proposed in the parliament, a law may be passed by the state so that these 100 people may be allowed access to this particular temple shrine. So this particular point emphasizes the role of the state to actually promote gender equality, gender empowerment, and also an unimpeded access to all the Hindu religious institutions. So this is it from this lesson. I hope all the contours, arguments, and counter arguments regarding the women entry in the Sabrimala shrine are clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can mention it in the comment section. Also, you can follow me on Facebook and Quora. Thank you very much.